My dad stated I should cancel my engagement party because my entitled sister deserved the attention. So I uninvited the family. The meltdown that ensued was pathetic and perfect. I, 29M, never thought my own family would try to sabotage the happiest moment of my life. But here we are. 3 weeks ago, I proposed to my girlfriend of 4 years, and she said yes. We decided to throw an engagement party at a local venue. Nothing too fancy, just close friends and family to celebrate with us before we start wedding planning. The trouble started when I called my parents to give them the date. Mom seemed excited initially, asking about the venue and guest list. Then she mentioned that my sister had some big news she'd been waiting to share with the family. I didn't think much of it at first. My sister always had something going on: new job, new apartment, new boyfriend. The woman thrived on being the center of attention. 2 days later, Dad called me back. His tone was different, more serious. He told me that my sister had confided in them about her news, and it was really important. Apparently, she'd been accepted into some prestigious graduate program that she'd been dreaming about for years. The timing was perfect, he said, because she wanted to announce it at a family gathering. That's when he dropped the bomb. He suggested I postpone my engagement party by a few weeks so my sister could have her moment first. He explained that her acceptance was time-sensitive news, and she deserved the spotlight for such a major achievement. My engagement could wait, he reasoned, since we weren't getting married immediately anyway. I was stunned. I told him the venue was already booked, invitations were being printed, and our friends had cleared their schedules. But Dad insisted that family should come first, and my sister's academic success was something the whole family should celebrate properly without any distractions. The conversation got heated when I refused to budge. Dad's voice took on that disappointed tone I remembered from childhood, the one that used to make me feel guilty for wanting something for myself. He reminded me how hard my sister had worked, how much this meant to her, and how I was being selfish by not considering her feelings. I hung up feeling frustrated and confused. My fiancée found me staring at my phone, and I explained the whole situation. She was as bewildered as I was. We'd been planning this party for weeks, and suddenly I was supposed to drop everything because my sister got into grad school? The next few days brought a barrage of calls and texts from various family members. Mom tried the gentle approach, explaining how excited my sister was and how it would mean so much to her to have the family's undivided attention. My aunt chimed in with a long message about family harmony and compromise. Even my uncle, who I barely talked to, sent a text saying I should be more supportive of my sister's achievements. But it was my cousin who finally revealed the full truth. She called me late one evening and told me what was really going on. Apparently, my sister had been complaining to everyone about how I always got more attention from our parents. She'd been building up this grad school acceptance for months, turning it into some massive deal that required a formal family celebration. My cousin explained that my sister had specifically asked our parents to get me to postpone my engagement party. She felt that my news would overshadow hers, and she couldn't bear the thought of not being the center of attention at a family event. The worst part? She'd already planned her own celebration for the weekend after my original party date, meaning she wanted me to move mine just so hers would be the first big family gathering. That's when everything clicked into place. This wasn't about supporting my sister's achievements. It was about maintaining her status as the family princess. Growing up, my parents had always catered to her dramatic tendencies, rearranging plans and adjusting expectations to keep her happy. I'd watch them cancel family vacations because she had last-minute commitments, delay holiday celebrations because she needed more time to prepare her gifts, and constantly walk on eggshells to avoid her emotional meltdowns. The final straw came when Dad called me again, this time with ultimatums. He told me that if I didn't postpone the engagement party, my sister might not attend at all. She was apparently so hurt by my selfishness that she was considering skipping the event entirely. He painted a picture of family division and disappointment, all because I refused to accommodate her schedule. I listened to his entire speech, feeling my anger build with each word. When he finished, I told him I'd think about it, and hung up. But I'd already made my decision. I spent that evening with my fiancée, talking through everything. She supported whatever choice I wanted to make, but she also helped me see the bigger picture. This wasn't just about one party. It was about setting boundaries for our future marriage and the life we wanted to build together. The next morning, I started making calls. First, I called my parents and told them that the engagement party would proceed as planned. I explained that I wasn't postponing one of the most important celebrations of my life to accommodate my sister's demands for attention. If she chose not to attend, that was her decision. Dad's response was predictable. He launched into another lecture about family loyalty and respect, reminding me of all the times they'd supported me growing up. But this time, I didn't back down. I told him that support should work both ways, and right now, I needed my family to celebrate with me, not tear me down. Mom tried a different approach when she called later that day. She spoke about compromise and finding middle ground, suggesting we could have a joint celebration that honored both occasions. I explained that my engagement was not something I wanted to share with my sister's academic achievement. They were completely different milestones that deserved their own recognition. That's when the manipulation really ramped up. My sister finally called me directly, and her performance was worthy of an Oscar. She cried about how hurt she felt, how she'd always looked up to me as her big brother, and how she couldn't understand why I was being so cruel. She claimed that all she wanted was one special moment with the family, and I was ruining it by refusing to adjust my schedule. I listened to her sob story, remembering all the times I'd fallen for similar tactics in the past. Every birthday where she'd somehow managed to make herself the center of attention, every family gathering where her drama had overshadowed everyone else's news, every holiday where we'd all walked on eggshells to keep her happy. But this time was different. I calmly told her that I was happy about her grad school acceptance and looked forward to celebrating it with her at her own party. However, my engagement party was not the appropriate venue for her announcement, and I wouldn't be changing my plans. Her tears quickly turned to anger. She accused me of being jealous of her success, of always trying to compete with her, and of being a terrible brother who didn't care about family. When I didn't respond to her accusations, she hung up on me. The next few days brought increasingly desperate attempts from various family members to change my mind. My grandmother called to express her disappointment. My aunt sent a lengthy email about the importance of sibling relationships, and my uncle offered to mediate a family meeting to resolve the conflict. Through it all, I remained firm. My engagement party was happening as scheduled, and anyone who wanted to attend was welcome. Anyone who chose not to attend over this manufactured drama was making their own decision. A week before the party, I received a group text from my sister announcing her plan. She informed everyone that since I was being unreasonable and selfish, she would be hosting her own celebration the same night as my engagement party. She'd booked a restaurant across town and invited all the same family members, essentially forcing them to choose between events. The audacity was breathtaking, but it was also illuminating. She'd revealed her true colors to everyone, showing that this had never been about scheduling conflicts or timing. It was about control and attention. I took a screenshot of her message and sent it to my fiancé with a simple comment. Problem solved. If my family wanted to choose my sister's manufactured drama over celebrating my engagement, they were welcome to do so. But I was done playing her games. Update 1. The responses to my sister's ultimatum were revealing. Most of my extended family immediately recognized the manipulation for what it was. My cousin called me to apologize for the family drama and confirm her attendance at my engagement party. My grandmother, who had initially pressured me to compromise, sent a sharp text to my sister telling her that her behavior was inappropriate and embarrassing. But my parents and a few other relatives fell right into my sister's trap. Mom called me in tears, begging me to reconsider and find a compromise. She couldn't understand how things had gotten so out of hand over something so simple. Dad was more direct, telling me that I was tearing the family apart and that I'd regret this decision for the rest of my life. That conversation with Dad was the breaking point for me. I'd spent years watching him enable my sister's entitled behavior, making excuses for her drama and expecting everyone else to accommodate her demands. But hearing him blame me for tearing the family apart when I was simply refusing to be manipulated was the final straw. I told him that if attending my sister's competing event was more important to him than celebrating my engagement, he should follow his priorities. But I was done compromising my happiness to manage her emotions. The conversation ended with him warning me that I was making a choice I couldn't take back. He was right. I was making a choice I couldn't take back, and it felt liberating. Update 2. My engagement party happened exactly as planned, and it was perfect. About 60 people attended, friends, co-workers, my fiancé's family, and roughly half of my extended family. The venue was beautiful, the food was great, and the atmosphere was filled with genuine joy and celebration. The people who came were there because they wanted to celebrate with us, not because they felt obligated or were playing family politics. My cousin gave a heartfelt toast about love and partnership. My fiancé's father welcomed me into their family with warmth and enthusiasm. Even my elderly neighbor, whom I'd invited on a whim, brought us a beautiful card with a handwritten note about young love. What struck me most was how relaxed everything felt. There were no dramatic outbursts, no attention-seeking behavior, no walking on eggshells to avoid someone's emotional landmine. Just people who cared about us coming together to celebrate a happy occasion. My phone buzzed periodically throughout the evening with texts and missed calls from my parents and sister, but I ignored them all. This was my night, and I wasn't going to let their drama intrude on it. Around midnight, as we were cleaning up and saying our final goodbyes, my cousin pulled me aside. She told me that my sister's competing event had been a disaster. Only about 12 people had shown up, mainly my parents, my aunt and uncle, and a few family friends who felt obligated to attend. Apparently, my sister had spent the entire evening complaining about me and how I'd ruined her special moment. She'd turned what should have been a celebration of her achievement into a bitter rant session about family loyalty and sibling rivalry. Several attendees had left early, uncomfortable with the negativity and drama. My cousin also mentioned that my grandmother had initially planned to attend my sister's event out of family obligation, but changed her mind at the last minute. She'd realized that rewarding my sister's manipulative behavior would only encourage more of it in the future. Update 3. The aftermath has been both predictable and satisfying. My sister's social media posts from her celebration tell the whole story. Photos of a nearly empty restaurant, forced smiles, and captions about knowing who your real family is. The comments from relatives who attended my party instead were diplomatically absent from her posts. Mom called me the day after, and for the first time, her tone was different. She admitted that my sister's behavior at her own event had been embarrassing and inappropriate. Apparently, several family members had approached my parents afterward to express their discomfort with the situation my sister had created. She didn't apologize exactly, but she acknowledged that perhaps they'd been too focused on avoiding my sister's emotional reactions instead of addressing her underlying behavior. It wasn't a full admission of wrongdoing, but it was progress. Dad has been notably silent, which is probably for the best. Our relationship has always been complicated, and I suspect he's still processing the fact that his manipulation tactics didn't work this time. The most interesting development came from my sister herself. About a week after the dueling parties, she sent me a long text message that started as an apology, but quickly devolved into more blame shifting and victim playing. She claimed that she'd never meant to cause problems. She just wanted her family to be proud of her achievements, and she couldn't understand why I'd chosen to hurt her so deeply. I read the entire message twice, then deleted it without responding. Her inability to take responsibility for her actions or acknowledge the impact of her behavior told me everything I needed to know about her character and our future relationship. My fiancé and I have been reflecting on the whole experience, and we both feel like we learned something important about boundaries and family dynamics. We realized that healthy relationships require mutual respect and consideration, qualities that were clearly missing from my interactions with certain family members. The people who attended our engagement party have continued to reach out with support and well wishes. My cousin has become a closer friend through this experience, bonding over our shared frustration with family drama. My fiancé's family has embraced me even more warmly, perhaps recognizing that I'd chosen their values of straightforward communication and genuine support over the toxic patterns I'd grown up with. Final update. 3 months have passed since the engagement party incident, and the dust has largely settled. My sister started grad school and has been posting about her academic achievements and new social circle. She seems to have found a fresh audience for her attention-seeking behavior, which is probably better for everyone involved. My parents have slowly started reaching out again, though our interactions remain somewhat strained. Mom sends occasional texts about wedding planning and family updates, carefully avoiding any mention of the engagement party conflict. Dad and I have spoken twice. Brief, polite conversations that feel more like diplomatic exchanges than father-son chats. I've realized that I don't miss the constant drama and emotional manipulation that used to characterize family gatherings. The anxiety I used to feel before family events, wondering what crisis would emerge or whose feelings would need to be managed, has completely disappeared. My fiancé and I are planning our wedding for next spring, and we've decided to keep the guest list small and the boundaries clear. We're inviting people who actively support our relationship and add joy to our lives, rather than those who come with conditions and complications. The experience taught me that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and your future family is to refuse to enable toxic behavior, even when it comes from people you care about. Setting boundaries isn't cruel. It's necessary for building healthy relationships and protecting your own well-being. My sister may have deserved attention for her achievements, but she didn't deserve to hijack my celebration to get it. And I finally learned that I deserved better than a family that would ask me to sacrifice my happiness to manage someone else's emotions. The meltdown that ensued when I stood my ground was indeed pathetic and perfectly revealing of the dynamics I'd been enabling for years. Sometimes you have to let people show you who they really are and then believe them.